All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a special collaboration video with...
TheZeusTuber.
Awesome. So in this one, we're going to be talking about some expectations we have for The Walking Dead Season 7, and just going over some Q and A questions.
Awesome.
Cool. So any thoughts on the journey so far, which is going to be October 16th?
I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I don't really know too much about it. I know there's like a special they're doing, right? Like on AMC. It should be pretty insightful, and it's probably just going to drive home some more emotions for all of us. If we all watch it leading into the whoever's going to die on the premiere.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that might be why they're doing it, because they didn't do anything like that last year, did they?
No, I know. I think they did. Oh no, that was 2 years ago. I know they did those two documentaries on Walking Dead during the summer. One that was during season 5, and then there was another one that had to do with like the walkers or the special effects makeup.
Yeah. I mean, they do some different specials here and there, but of course, last year
Yeah.
they had Fear leading up to the premiere, right? So
Right.
yeah, this year they don't, which actually I like better. I like to have a little bit of break in between, so that's good. So it's cool, man. Yeah, so let's get into some questions, and we'll talk about some expectations. So, what do you think for season 7? What are you expecting in terms of maybe quality? Do you think it'll be as good as season 6, season 5?
I'm expecting it to be better than the two of those, and that's big for me because season 5 is probably my favorite season that they've ever done. I did enjoy a lot of elements of season 6. For the most part, I enjoyed it. There were a couple episodes here and there, I guess a couple elements of episodes I didn't enjoy. I didn't really enjoy episode 5 much at all, and that's mainly because we had so much happening the first 3, and then I enjoyed the Morgan episode, and then 5 was, they didn't really pick up the pace at all, so it was kind of just 2 weeks of kind of just walking around. But I do understand the point of it. It wasn't my favorite one for season 6. But in terms of season 7, I don't know how they could screw it up at this point. I mean, I'm hoping they won't, because there's just so much that is happening now, leading off of Negan and the Lucille death and all that, and then we're seeing the Sanctuary and we're getting the Kingdom. There's just a lot of things that are, the ball is going to be in motion a lot, so I'm excited to see that, and I think it'll be great.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it should be a good season. I'm thinking for me, probably somewhere between season 5 and season 6. But we'll see. Of course, the premiere death should be huge, and then after that, I'm thinking it might slow down a little bit. It should still be really good, but I mean, in terms of like some of the biggest things that happen in the show,
Yeah.
season 6. I mean, the second half is pretty crazy because you've got Negan coming in, you've got
True.
all the different kind of kills that are involved with that. It's pretty action based for a
Right.
lot of it, so it should be pretty good. But yeah,
True.
I'm really excited to, at least to see the premiere and who's killed off, and then after that, everybody feels about that in the first half, and what kind of feel it has with Negan being in the show now. So it should be really cool, man. Yeah.
I did hear a rumor that they're going to somehow try to incorporate "Sympathy for the Devil" from Rolling Stones for the Sanctuary. So I think that'll be a cool tone for Negan and all that.
Yeah, that should be good. I'm also excited to see what they do with Simon's character, who's Stephen Oak. Yeah, he should
Yes.
be cool because, of course, he doesn't exist in the comics. So it should be
Right.
cool to see what they do with him in the series, and of course with Daryl and Dwight, should be really good. Yeah. So cool. Okay, so the first question for this one is from Justin Caldero, and he says, "Was wondering if you heard anything from AMC of the premiere for season 7 being an extended episode. I feel like they should because of how loaded the episode will be." Uh,
Um, you go.
So, like, well, we don't know for sure right now if it's going to be an extended episode yet, right? Because they haven't announced it. But we do know that Talking Dead's going to be extended. So, with the big death in it, I could see them doing an extended episode, but we'll have to see. That usually would have announced it by now, right? You think?
I I know like I was saying that New York Comic Con is this weekend, so we know Walking Dead's gonna have a big presence there. I'm hoping for a new teaser, but they'll probably, if they're going to announce it, they're gonna announce it this weekend, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. We should hear about it really soon if they're going to do it. I'd like to see an extended episode. So
I would too.
yeah, it should be good because you think about this episode. There's going to be, I mean, it should be one of the biggest they've ever done, right? So
Definitely one of the most emotional, I'd say.
yeah, especially after the cliffhanger and people waiting so long. So it makes sense they do 90 minutes. But if they already announced Talking Dead to be 90 minutes, it might be like the time slot. Yeah, I'm not sure if Talking Dead is extended, maybe they won't extend Walking Dead. I guess we'll have to see. So, yeah, cool. Next one is, do you think Heath will survive this season?
I personally think he will, just because we haven't seen enough of him I mean, for fans of the comic, Heath is a pretty big character for the most part. I mean, there's a big fan base around Heath. At least from what I've heard on comment sections and such. I was never a huge fan of him myself. I mean, I didn't have a problem with him, but he just never stuck out in my mind. And he hasn't done so much in the show, and that's not really the show's fault or the actor's fault. It's just he's Corey Hawkins, who plays Heath. Some of you guys might know he played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton, and he's been getting a lot of work. He's in the new King Kong movie that's coming out this coming year. He has other new TV show. I don't think they would kill him off. But I do think we're going to not see very much of him.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like that. Because they could do kind of what they've been doing recently, where you have so many characters in so many different locations that they could kind of just have him fade into the background for a bit. Maybe we don't see him for a while, and then he comes back after when when he's needed. So, yeah, cool. So I think you kind of already answered this one, but it was, what's your favorite season of The Walking Dead and why?
Like off the top of my head, I think of season 5 just because I remembered at least those first few episodes. They're like no sanctuary, and then I'm forgetting our strangers with we meet Father Gabriel, and then obviously Four Walls and a Roof. Those 3 back to back were like some of my favorite. Like that the whole terminus sequence there in the beginning of season 5 was probably my favorite that they've done, even more so than the Wolves in terms of our group against foes. And then I really love the Alexandria stuff in the second half. I go back and forth, to be honest with you. Like, I'll be, by the end of this video, I might even say season 6 was my favorite, just because I think back and I'm thinking, I love like this patch of episodes. I love it all.
Yeah.
But season 5 definitely sticks out in my mind.
Yeah, no, season 5 is amazing for sure. It's one of my favorites as well. And like you said, man, the Terminus stuff was really amazing in The Walking Dead, especially compared to the comics. Because if you look at Fear the Hunters, like, it's really good. It's really exciting. It's one of the more exciting parts. But because they extended it to Terminus, it was really amazing for sure. Yeah. So that's cool. Season 6 personally is my favorite, but a lot of you guys already know that. So, yeah, cool, man. And next one is, what is your favorite episode of The Walking Dead? Or maybe top 3.
Okay, top 3. Well, my favorite episode of all time thus far is, I'm not gonna lie, it's the season 6 finale. Most people did not like it, and I went to battle for it many times in the comment sections and with my friends even. It was an episode that mainly consisted of RV driving and then a cliffhanger that angered most of the fan base. But going back and watching it a few different times, I just noticed so much foreshadowing in it, and just the way the soundtrack that they used complemented the different scenes that were happening, especially when the scene where our group comes to the burning logs and we hear Stephen Ogg's voice in the background talking to them, and there's this eerie music playing, and you just know that it's basically Terminus all over again. They're being herded through their traps the way that the Saviors want them to go, and it's just, if you picking up on those things, I think for me at least, it was building tension even more, because you just knew it was not going to end well, and our group was so cocky the entire time, like, oh, we're going to get through this together as long as we do it together, and so forth. And just to see them being broken down and knowing what was coming, because we all knew it was going to end with Negan. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, regardless of how fast-paced, a scene was or anything like that. And then Jeffrey Dean Morgan's performance, I don't think there's no question there. He was phenomenal. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the uncensored version, but I actually enjoyed the censored version a little bit more personally, just because although I love Negan's F-bombs, I felt like it was almost a little bit comical watching it like in real life. I mean, there was a couple moments when he like was like, you're instead of saying you're peg, like you're fucked. But like when he had a few in a row, it's like it's almost kind of funny, and it kind of took away from the seriousness of the scene for me when I watched it. In the comic, it's one thing. On like when you in real life, quote unquote, it was just a little bit weirder.
Mm-hmm.
But just to be a little quicker here, my second favorite episode is probably No Sanctuary, and then my third favorite episode is No Way Out, also from season 6.
Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Yeah, some good calls there. I'm surprised that the finale is your favorite, but I am pretty happy to hear that because I did like the finale a lot too, and people focused only on the cliffhanger because it's a big cliffhanger. I mean, if you look at a lot of different shows and that's pretty much as big of the cliffhanger as you're going to be able to get, right? So with not knowing who's going to be killed off and knowing for sure somebody is going to die. But I agree with some of the things you said, that it was a really good build-up, really good lead-up to Negan's first appearance, and it was really cool to see him in that season because they could have easily pushed it into the next season, into season 7 for sure. So
right,
yeah, cool. And then, like for me, right now it's No Way Out for me as my favorite episode for sure. So, but. Some of the others you mentioned were great. No Sanctuary would be up there. And then for me, Too Far Gone with the Governor was still a pretty epic episode, even though, the show has gotten like a lot bigger now. And you see, like, you compare No Way Out and the amount of just crazy things happening and all the zombies and everything compared to Too Far Gone. It almost seems a little like small time because even though you have like the tank, you have the governor, and he's like rolling in, destroying the place. Even still, like, you don't have that many characters in the survivors. Like, you've got your core group, and that's pretty much it. Nowadays, there's so many different characters, and like you said, for season 7, there's going to be even more with the kingdom and that. So it's going to be a lot bigger than it was. But still, for me, that's got to be one of my favorites for sure. So, cool, dude. Okay. Favorite character?
Rick, hands down.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, Rick is a great character, and most people, I think, would be most people's favorite. He's my favorite too, depending on the season. I like Daryl as well too, though. So, probably up there for me. What about you? If not Rick, who else?
For the second spot, I currently over like the past like 2 seasons, it's been Abraham, just because he's just a lot of fun to watch, and then I'd say like for third, it's a tie between Daryl and Glenn because they both have moments when I love them, and there's times I'm like, all right, you're just doing your Glenn's talking to Maggie or Daryl's angry about something, but most of the time I love all of them.
Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Yeah, that's cool to say, Abraham. I don't hear a lot of people say that, but he's really funny in the show, that's for sure, and I like the way he plays off Eugene. Really fun. So
they're great together.
Definitely. Next one is from Trevschanrules, and it's actually his account name. I swear to God, I did not just put that in. It says, hey, Trev and Alec, do you think we'll get a flashback of Dwight getting the iron?
100%.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree. Yeah, it should be cool to see. I'd also like to see some flashbacks with Negan. Are you up to date with the Here's Negan series?
I haven't actually read them myself, but I've been kind of reading synopses of them online after they come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Yeah, they're pretty fun just to kind of get to see. I won't spoil anything for you. Well, you said the synopsis, so you have the general idea, but yeah, it's cool to see how Negan starts and Lucille and everything. So it's fun for sure.
Right.
Okay, Nate says either that or an entire episode set at the Sanctuary where a random dude gets the iron. What do you think? So. Maybe we can kind of convert that to what do you think we're going to see from the Sanctuary first half?
Not to get into like any spoiler territory right now, because I have heard a couple different things. I don't know if they're true or not. I'm not really going to dive into that because I know a lot of my viewers and your viewers as well aren't really into that type of thing. Some are, but that's fine. But I've heard that they're at least in interviews, I'll say from some interviews, they've said they are going to show a lot of the inner workings and even some of the backstory of both the Sanctuary and Negan. So I would assume that we might have, if not a bottle episode, a pretty close to bottle episode featuring probably, maybe featuring like centering around Dwight and then showing it at the Sanctuary, because we get hints of that in the trailer even. There's a lot. I mean, obviously they couldn't show us any footage of our main group of characters, but we did have a lot of scenes where Dwight is off by himself, or we have Dwight walking through what appears to be the sanctuary. So if you put all those together, it could be a very sanctuary-driven episode. Maybe not 100% sanctuary, but pretty close, if not.
Like something like maybe the flashback we had with Morgan last year, Here's Not Here. You think like maybe something like that? It'd be cool to see like a whole episode of the sanctuary. So that'd be sweet. Oh, and there was also one other thing I saw in the character descriptions, which I thought was weird, is that Dwight, at least it says in the description, that he'll be going back to Negan voluntarily. I thought that was weird. What do you think about that?
Actually, I haven't. For those of you who are watching and are subscribed to me, I haven't been very active these past like month and a half for just school and this time. But I haven't read them on AMC. I know they got released, and I was gonna do a video on it, and then I got sidetracked, to be honest. But on that note, that's surprising to me, because he was very adamant. At least when we saw him in 606, when he ran to Daryl, they were very clearly going the opposite way from Negan. So I'm wondering why he volunteered. Maybe because they threatened, I believe her name is Sherry, and then he volunteered to spare her life.
Yeah, it's weird that they would go back voluntarily. Maybe it's a miswrite or a misprint, because to be honest with me, like if someone doesn't take them back, like Wade or somebody, then it would be really weird to see Dwight go back to voluntarily. So yeah, but maybe we'll see, because that was on AMC.com. So I mean, it's possible they could still put out like a misprint or something, but it's actually from AMC, so it's weird. Yeah, so we'll see. Next one is, what do you think of Fear the Walking Dead versus the original?
I have my mixed opinions on Fear the Walking Dead. Like, there's times when I think, oh, this is really good. Other times I'm like, they kind of throw this. There's problems with every show. There's even problems with the main show, Walking Dead, where characters make some decisions that maybe the viewer wouldn't have made. It's easy to watch a show like Walking Dead or Fear and be like, oh, I wouldn't have made that decision. They're being dumb. But like, my argument for that type of thing is we don't know what we would do under pressure on like a life or death situation. We could make a really dumb decision and get someone or ourselves killed, for all we know. We don't know how we're going to act. We'd like to tell ourselves, oh, we'll be great in the apocalypse, or we'll survive, but we don't know. But it is annoying from a TV perspective to watch some characters do some dumb stuff, even if it is realistic to an extent. I'm going off on a tangent. I personally like the main show better.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's cool. Most people do, I think. I included a question. This was from Andrew Ortiz. He always flames and trolls about Fear versus the original. He said, because I did my video, I said, like, and I get your thoughts on this too, that I feel like The Walking Dead is more action-based. Even though I know Kirkman has said that it's supposed to be drama, but I feel like it's more action-based. And Fear of the Walking Dead is a lot more drama-heavy. So now he's
that's what I can see that.
He said, "Do you realize The Walking Dead is a drama more than an action show? We see more drama than action, and even the creator of the show, Robert Kirkman, says The Walking Dead is a character-driven drama show." And I'm asking because you look surprised that The Walking Dead is a drama when it's always been a drama. so he argues with me on this one. I don't know. What do you think about Walking Dead in terms of its genre? I mean, obviously it has a lot of different elements. You even have like romance between maybe Rick and Michonne, or Maggie and Glenn in certain episodes. You might even have some comedy. But at least with regards to the genre compared to Fear, do you feel like they're different genres, or do you feel like they're kind of the same?
Firstly, I apologize if you hear people yelling in my suite from here, but I think that's a great question. I at its core, the main show, Walking Dead, in my opinion, is definitely a drama, and it secondly is drama, and then a horror drama, I guess you could say. Then action is something that is a result of the drama in the show. It's not an action show. If you're looking for an action show, then this one maybe is not the show for you. If I was to tell somebody that, if they were asking me oh, is it action packed? Like, yeah, there's action in it, and there's progressively gotten more action in it over the seasons as we've gotten more into character conflict instead of just character versus Walker. But so far, at least, I've noticed from Fear. And granted, I'm not caught up in the second half of season 2, so I don't know if it changes or not. But just based on like season 1 and the first half of season 2, I'd say it's definitely. I don't know. I thought it was around the same to me. I mean, it's hard to tell because the pacing of both shows is pretty similar, in my opinion.
Maybe up until the midway point. I mean, it's kind of tricky to say. For me, Fear seems like it has a lot more of a focus on kind of the family drama and kind of blended family.
Yeah.
At least more of a focus on that than The Walking Dead did, where it had more kind of focus. I mean, you had the Rick stuff with the family too, but you just have a lot of kind of shooting the place up type of action, and looks like sounds like someone's having fun. Action going on the hallway. But Michonne with the sword and everything, and in Fear, you don't really have like this is at least my line of thinking. You don't really have like Madison with her, I don't know, main weapon or something. A lot of the characters don't even have weapons a lot of the time. They just kind of go about it. But I guess if you haven't seen the second half of season 2, then maybe that's why we differ on that one. So it's cool. Thoughts on the Walking Dead TV series and comics having different endings? Kirkman
I'm open to all possibilities. I'm open to whatever Kirkman has in mind. Like, if they do 100% end up having separate endings or one ends before the other, I mean, so be it. I enjoy both mediums separately. Like, I don't like being the one that's like, oh, this happened in the show, so it needs to happen in the comic, or vice versa. Like, I mean, there's certain things that you gotta have. Like, you gotta have a main character named Rick, or things like that. But as far as the individual events that happen, as long as it has the heart of the comic, I don't really care what specifically happens. So if it's a completely different ending, or on the show than is in the comic, I wouldn't be upset or anything like that, as long as it is the ending itself does justice to the show. Like, it has to fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think it's good that they're going to be different because with the TV series version, it's its own animal, and you're going to have people that are going to age, and it should be pretty cool to see it have its own unique kind of thing. Even though, like, I like where The Walking Dead has where it's mostly the same, but you have certain remixes and you have things that are a bit different from the comics. So I think they've hit a pretty good kind of niche in the middle where they have most of it from the comic with some new spontaneous things that happen.
Yeah.
Cool. Next one is, do you think that you will ever get tired of The Walking Dead if it goes on past like season 12 or something?
No, I don't. I haven't even gotten a little bit of fatigue from the show, and maybe it's just because I've been with it for so long, where like I'm with the show for the long haul, and if it goes for many, many years or it gets driven into the ground, I'll be with it to the end. And I can't say the same for Fear, obviously, because I just haven't really cared about this past season. Maybe it'll change it when I watch it, but for the main show, I'll be a fan to the end, regardless of the ending.
Cool.
Or whatever happens.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, I personally don't think I'll ever get tired of it either, no matter how long they go on with it. I mean, it's like my favorite series ever, so for sure. Yeah. And if Kirkman's writing it, I mean, I don't think it'll ever get boring. Even in the comics, like I was doing a review for 159 this week issue, and it's amazing, man. It's as good as The Walking Dead's ever been. So even though it's been going on a long time, it doesn't feel to me like the series is. Some people say it's repetitive. For me, I mean, I don't think it's really that repetitive. What do you think?
I've heard a lot of my comment sections, whether it's the comic or the show, that the show does get repetitive. Personally, like, there are elements in the show that when you really think about it, like our group against the governor, then our group against Gareth, and then Negan. There's certain plot elements that are maybe similar, but in terms of like tedious and repetitive, and then maybe even boring, I would say no. They're finding ways to remix. Maybe they're recycling plot elements, but they are remixing it enough, and they're following the source material to an extent where it makes it seem fresh to me personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And even the TV series, like the way it reinvents itself, if you look at each half is very different. Like we were talking about the first half of season 5. If you look at first half of season 6, it's like kind of like a monster movie with the amount of Walker herd there, of like over 30,000 zombies. So, it's got its own feel. And then the second half of season 6 has the lead into the Saviors. which is a lot different from if you look at the second half of season 5, where you have Alexandria, and the first half where they're kind of on the road doing different stuff with Terminus. So, yeah, I personally don't feel like it's become repetitive. I think they do a pretty good job of. Of course, there's always going to be them killing zombies is going to be a part of it. There's always going to be new villains in that, but you always have villains in Batman or Superman or Avengers or whatever. And I mean, those have been going on since like the 1940s, 50s, 60s, depending on which character you want to pick. So yeah, cool. The next one's from Brandon McKnight, and he says, "How much do you guys think of Shiva? We will see this season."
I don't think we're going to see too much, mainly just because I know they're going to be using a mixture of like a puppet and CGI, and if they utilize her a lot, like this every episode, for example, like from episode, I believe we're going to see them in 3 onwards, that'd be a big chunk of their budget would just be Shiva. So I feel like we'll see her in the Kingdom introduction episode, and then we'll probably get a couple shots of her here and there, but definitely they're going to use her sparingly, only when necessary, maybe for like an action scene here and there, or use her for all-out war, obviously. But I don't think we're going to see her too much, just for cost reasons, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I think that it'll be cool to see Shiva in the series, but I don't think they're going to be able to use her that much, because they are doing 16 episodes, right? They're doing tons of different stuff. And, I mean, it would be really expensive to have it there all the time. Plus, you're building all these different communities, and there's a lot of cost involved, obviously, I'm sure. So, yeah. Right. Next one's from Tim TL, and he says, "Do you think Rick and Negan will ever be friends in the TV show?"
Well, not to give away anything that may or may not be happening in the comic, but we know. I mean, you know what's happening currently and how certain things are playing out. I don't think they'll ever be, in the show at least, friends. There may be a time, if they follow comics, that they might have to work together to some extent for the greater good. I don't know. I mean, they could do whatever they wanted. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is charming enough where, if they could reasonably work in the fact that Rick and him have to work together or be friends, or maybe even in like a life or death situation where it's those two against a group of walkers and they have to use each other to get out of it, there might be a little bit of mutual respect at some point. Very far down the line, especially not after the season 7 premiere anytime soon. But maybe if Jeffrey, let's just say, is here for the long haul, let's just a random number, season 12? Maybe. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to throw it out the door.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And yeah, that's a big thing too, like we talked about earlier, is you don't know how long certain actors are going to be in the series for. You don't know if, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is willing to go. Like, what if they go to season 14 or something? Is he still going to be down for it in 7 or 8 years, So, yeah, that's tricky. So we'll see how it goes. Should be good either way. So we kind of touched on this a little bit before. This one's from Mr. Simon, and he says, "What do you think about The Walking Dead becoming a long-running franchise similar to Star Trek?" I already did a video on this one myself, so I won't talk too much on it. But what do you think about, The Walking Dead having different franchises and not just one series, but be going on for maybe decades?
I would be into that. Like I've mentioned before, like I have no fatigue whatsoever about the universe of The Walking Dead or anything like that. Like I would love to see it going, up in, when I have kids and I can share it with them, be like, hey, here's, the first 20 seasons. Let's get caught up for, season 21, and then we can, watch the spin-off show, whatever iteration is around then, and that'd be cool. I can in 20 years from now or whatnot. Who knows? I mean, that's wishful thinking, but and I doubt it would be the same cast of characters. Maybe Carl would still be on the show. I doubt that, but yeah, I would like to see it be a Star Trek type of thing.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, that'd be crazy if they got to 20 seasons. I'd love to see it, but like you said, and also too, as we were just talking about Jeffrey Dean Morgan, it would be tricky for them to do it after a certain point. Like if he gets into his 60s or something, like how long is he going to do it for, right? So it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I'm really happy for that news, because then it means that it's not like going to be a one-shot deal, but that they're planning on it going to be going for a really long time and different iterations. So that should be good. Cool. Favorite quote from The Walking Dead show and comic. This is from Jake Cooper.
Favorite quote from I can't remember any from the comic really. I haven't even looked at the comics in a very long time. At least like the older ones. But Abraham right off the bat in the show, it was season 5 finale when he's talking to the Alexandrians and he's like, "There's a vast ocean of shit out there that you people don't know shit about, and Rick knows every fine grain of said shit." Like that, I love that line.
Yeah, that's good. I like that Abraham's your favorite character because I don't hear that too often in comments and stuff. So that's fun. Yeah, he's got some great ones. I like probably some of Negan's quotes in the comic. The Rick, we are the Walking Dead is a pretty iconic one. That's a big one. The TV series, they had it at a way different time. Of course, it was season 5, second half. Yeah, but in the comics, it's like in the prison, so it's like in season 2 if you convert it, which is weird. But that one's good. But I like a lot of Negan's different quotes in that. He's got one coming up for All Out War. I reenacted it for my trailer. It's going to be this Sunday. I got a new channel trailer. It was a lot of work. Cool. It took like 2 months to make. So heads up, maybe you'll want to check it out. It's pretty fun. It's got some parody stuff in it. But one of the quotes in the trailer, I'll just say that is one of Negan's quotes for All Out War. So it should be fun.
Okay.
So
check
it out, man. It should be fun. So it should be good. Next one's from Hannah Angel, and we just got 2 left. So this is the second last one, and she says favorite showrunner. So who's your favorite showrunner for Walking Dead?
Oh, good question. Right, Gimple. Gimple's been my favorite showrunner. There's been a lot of hate on him after the cliffhanger, and I don't think that's necessarily fair to him because it is a team of people. It's not just him 100% calling all the shots because he has to run them through Kirkman and so forth. But I think he's had the best understanding of what the show is, or at least should be, and of the source material on how to do it justice. I know Frank Darabont, although he's a great director, and I love Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile and so forth. I thought I remember reading a couple things that he had some ideas for some self-contained stories, like one featuring the walker Rick finds in the tank in season 1, or following just a group of army soldiers or something like that. And I know that he was experimenting around a little bit with having the walkers remember some of their past selves, as we see the girl with the teddy bear in the beginning, and then Morgan's wife jiggling the doorknob. And obviously he had them with the bricks breaking the glass. I believe that was in Guts in season 1. He was experimenting with how intelligent or how capable they were, and I like what has happened with the walkers since him being removed. That being said, I loved season 1 and whatever he did in season 2. A lot of people hate Mazzara. I don't hate him because I loved season 3 when I watched it. Like, that was at the time was like my favorite season, and I thought it was just so action packed and great. I since don't like it as much, and besides the whole Andrea thing, I think he did a pretty decent job. He gave us some great episodes. The Killer Within, season 3 premiere was good. The mid-season finale of season 3, Home with Daryl and Merle. He gave us some great episodes. I won't discredit him for that, but Gimple's definitely my favorite.
Cool, man. Yeah, mine too, I'd have to say, for sure. I think Darabont was really cool, and I like how you brought up some of the ideas that he had with the zombies and having them kind of acting more like some of the classic Romero horror movies where they do remember certain things and there's a bit of focus on them. That's been totally dropped since the first couple seasons. Every so often I still get comments from people kind of asking about that and about how weird that was compared to now, where you don't have zombies doing anything like that, or in Fear either too, right? So, but it would have been cool to see what he would have had for us if he would have continued. But I do think that season 3 was pretty hot because Mazzara just sped that thing up like crazy, for sure. So, but I don't think it's sustainable over the long term, to go through that much content that fast. I'd be worried that the show would run out of steam, or have to get canceled, would pass the comic book, or something like that, and then they'd run out of material to base it on. But I think you're right. Gimple has a good understanding where he'll cover a certain amount so the comic book stays roughly ahead, at least for a while. But then he's still providing us with some really great stuff, and he's not stretching out too much. I almost feel like Darabont was a little too slow, Mazzara's too fast, and Gimple's just right. So, what do you think?
I agree with that.
Cool. And the last one's from Jasmine Reviews. He says, I found out Kirkman has plans for 300 to 400 issues of the Walking Dead comic book series. What are your thoughts on this, and will you continue to review Walking Dead? So we can both answer that, I guess.
You go first.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much going to review Walking Dead straight through, short of catastrophe, like the channel getting shut down or something. I'll pretty much be reviewing it all the way through until it eventually ends, because it's my favorite series. And I'm happy that he plans 300 or 400 issues. I hope that he actually sticks with it, that we actually get that many issues. So I think it would be great to see, and yeah, it should be good. So that's me.
I think that's a great number. I mean, what are we at now?
159, so 160, yeah, roughly.
Okay, so if let's say he does 300, we're just over halfway. So we still have, but potentially, if they continue at this pace, almost another decade of Walking Dead, unless they speed up a lot. If they do 400, obviously more than 10 years. So we're gonna have the comic, if he sticks it out, like he said, we're gonna have it around for quite a while. But most of you anyone who watches my channel know I don't really dive into the comic, at least in reviews, that much or at all. But I will be reading him to the end, and same goes for the show. I'll be watching to the end. So I think it's great.
Cool, man. Yeah, no, absolutely, it's good, and I think it's good for the show too. Even though the timing could become an issue, like if it catches up, that kind of deal. So we'll see. Of course, they're two different animals. But yeah, it should be good to see all the way through, and I look forward to it every month when it's released. So for sure. Great. So that's all the questions we got for today's Q and A. So thank you for joining me for this one, dude.
Awesome.
A lot of fun.
Anytime.
And yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Alec's channel, TheZeusTuber, I'll put a link in the description so you guys can check it out, and subscribe to his channel and all that good stuff. Check out the videos and everything. It's fun. And yeah, anything else you want to add?
For those of you who are watching this on my channel, do the same. I'll be doing the same thing for Trev. Go and subscribe to him, show some love, leave some likes. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again sometime if you'll have me.
Of course. Yeah, no, we can do it again.
Yeah,
maybe after this season. It'll probably be pretty busy with making videos and everything for season 7, but maybe the summer after we'll do another one.
Yeah, whenever.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Okay, well, thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you again soon.
No problem. All right, have a good one.
See ya.
Peace.